Hello, Tough people. This is episode 12 of Tough Talks, where the gravel gets real. This is our third guest episode for 2024, and the first time we're going to execute our new interview format. We did it with Chris yesterday, and we're doing it with Sofia today. We're going to talk about with folks who do tough things, who may be coming to Mammoth Tough in September, and who will inspire you to explore your tough. And our guest today is Sofia. Sofia, say your last name for me.
Schugar, just like
Is it really?
sugar.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
That's
It's like a
awesome. I love
stage
it.
name.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. How is it going over there?
Pretty good. Just finished a 3-day stage race and then jetted over to Italy to be in the Dolomites that we came through in the summer, and we wanted to come back in the winter and try skiing. So seeing a lot of Europe right now, and hopefully a lot more to come over the next like 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we asked you to join us today after scanning the results from Gravel and Wine, and we saw that you got second place there. So we were trying to, get some local fast kids on the show, and that's when your name got brought up. The way that we do the intros for Tough Talks, I give Dave 5 minutes to scan through your Instagram profile, and he basically is just going to do like an Instagram intro from everything that you've shared. Take it away, Dave.
Sofia's all over the place, racking up miles traveling and on the bike. She's back to racing gravel for the season and possibly has a history of racing on the road. She seems to do a good job motivating her girl squads on bikes and uses Target as a form of therapy. Her path is a bit different as she is chasing mixed surface events overseas, all of which she can share with us in this chat.
Accurate.
Pretty good. Yes. I'm happy that you could make some sense out of what I share on Instagram, because some people have said to me in like real life, they're like, I actually don't. What are you doing?
Oh yeah.
So
Who are
I'm glad
you?
we got, yeah, no, literally. Guys that I
Nice.
ride with, they're like, I try to understand more. And I'm like, sorry.
Oh, I love it. Well, yeah, we're excited to talk to you today. I think one of the things that we wanted to get into first is how do you get into bikes? I think we know that you spent some time in San Diego. Obviously, you're in Europe now, so how does sort of the bike fit into your life from the beginning?
I guess I start in high school. I ran like, well, actually, no, I started in ballet, and
Oh,
then I
nice.
started running to keep in shape. And like a ballet magazine published like one article about ballerinas who run.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I was just like, this is so much more fun. And I have like pretty bad ADHD. So like endurance sports kind of just help me like settle down. And then, but then I like stopped endurance for 2 years. And I was joking with my friends that I did endurance clubbing. So I took like my first years of college and was a crazy person. And then I got back into sports again and did triathlon. And then from that, I was just like, as I think so many cyclists say, they hated swimming, and then the rest is history. Then you're just a cyclist.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Amanda was the opposite. She's the only swimmer that went
yeah.
triathlon, and then we made her stop doing
Oh, so it's
triathlons.
Yeah, I was the weird
Yeah,
one.
I get
good
it. I'm
choice.
like, if I swim, I'll drown. The rest of it sounds fun.
I met someone the other day that was like, "Oh, I got into swimming so I could socialize." I was like,
What?
"When? And what
Yeah,
were you doing before?"
when your
Like,
head's
that's the
down the
worst part.
lane.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, so I was scanning Athlinks and I saw that you've done like Wildflower and a few other ones. I told Dave, I was like, oh, I think she did like some collegiate triathlons. Did you do that in
Yeah.
college?
Yeah. Yeah, you said I was from San Diego. I also went to UCSD and then did triathlon there. I was there at the last year of Wildflower. That was really cool. I told
Yeah,
everyone at
nice.
collegiate nationals, like after nationals, like, yeah, I'm doing Wildflower. And it was the next week. Was not trained for 70.3, but like we did it. I've learned a
Yeah.
lot since then. Yeah. But I did a lot of the collegiate stuff. It was a really cool experience. And I think we've like connected a lot of people in the triathlon and like endurance community through that in California. So definitely
Perfect.
like a huge part of, yeah, my like career as an athlete.
Yeah. And did road racing come into the picture because of collegiate racing?
So there's a long story, but I had to switch to cycling.
Okay.
And I graduated and I still had like 1/4 of eligibility. And the boys, none of the guys on my team made it to nationals. So they were like, we're not going to do the paperwork for road
Yeah.
nationals. But then we all made it to track nationals. So that was like my first bike, like real, like high level bike race. And then I don't think I ever did another triathlon after that. It was just like so fun.
Yeah.
Really like was engaging. But yeah, it just kind of like it was just that last 1/4 of eligibility, couldn't do anything in triathlon, so I just switched to cycling. And
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Nice.
did track nationals, but I didn't know anything. My coach knew anything about like what I was doing, so I was like riding the boards, like taking my time. And he was like, okay, I know we had you training at 27s, but I think you're going to be riding 22s, or I still barely know. I think you're going to be riding 22s for this race. And it was like, yeah, it was out of my league at the time. I was like super intimidated by everyone there. I had to learn how to ride rollers at track collegiate nationals in front of all these other like seasoned track athletes. It was chaotic, but it was good. I got like top 10. So that was cool. And then I was like, oh, I think I might be good at this. So I just kind of went with it.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah.
At least the track
Yeah.
bike will make you pay attention, though.
Right.
You stop
Oh,
paying attention and you're
yes.
going to get injected.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I miss it. I don't do track as much anymore. And I guess I can tell you the next thing that I did. I lived in Australia for 2 years after that. So then I was racing there.
Okay.
And you kind of like pick your category there. So
Oh, there's
I
no
just picked like the
system that you
highest
step up.
category. Yeah, nothing like that. You can just show up and like
Oh,
sign
wow.
up. Yeah, so then that was really humbling. Because
Sure.
then you just don't know anything about like racing or nutrition. So I did that during COVID.
Oh, wow.
And so that was like, and then I came back and I was honestly kind of like watching America and being like, gravel seems to be taking off. And that seems like something that I would have like a little more fun doing. So I
Mhm.
was actually kind of excited after the 2 years in Australia to like come back here because it wasn't a big thing there yet, and then like get into gravel. So then that
Nice.
was the transition to gravel.
Okay. Yeah. That was going to be my next question is what was your actual first gravel race?
It was gravel and wine
Oh,
in like 2022. So
okay.
I've done it twice. And I
Nice.
actually was like sad because I won it the other time.
Oh, no
That I did
way.
it. This year is the I was like a little disappointed.
Oh, that's so
But it
funny.
was
I
a
didn't.
good thing. It was a good thing that I did not win this year.
Oh, I mean, that is okay. This is what I wanted to talk about with the event. It's kind of a harder course, right? So for that being your first gravel event, is it what you expected based on everything that you'd seen about what traditional gravel events were?
I actually was I just remember it was pretty scary descending. I thought people like I'd never had someone to like gauge my own efforts off of, and I
Yeah.
probably hadn't really ridden off road more than like 10 times before
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay.
So it was definitely like pretty intimidating, and like the mass start element too, like starting with all the men, was pretty unique and not
Yeah.
something that you do in like any form of road racing. But I'd like obviously heard about that and some of the stigma around it, like how we're
Mhm.
like, oh, we should have this individual start, we shouldn't have an individual start. So I came in really prepared for like that element of it, like, and getting with a good pack of men and staying with a good pack of men.
Mhm.
And I'd honestly say that that is like for gravel and wine, that's how you would win that race. Like every year, the beginning is like flat and so fast. Like they're like neutral rollout, but it's like a 30-mile-an-hour neutral rollout, you know?
Yeah, not
So
neutral.
I'd say, yeah, that's what I came prepared for, and that's how it started all the years. And I think that just crossing my fingers and thanking someone that I did not eat it the first year that we went out at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the California tradition of of neutral rollouts these days.
Not
Like
neutral.
BWR used to be really like 15 to 19, and like they would hold it, and then now it's just like a road race as soon as you hit the first up. And
Yeah, and even the moto's going full throttle.
this year at Rock Cobbler, we're on a bike path, and like they get us to the path and we turn right, and it's like 2 lanes, and we're just going 30 miles an hour. And I'm like, what happened? We used to have mopeds and like people leading us,
Yeah.
and here we are again, like taking out runners that are coming. I'm just like, this is
Oh,
bad.
you're
Yeah.
like, is this a family friendly event? Like,
Not in California. It's the 35 plus world championships.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
Well,
It
I mean,
is.
that's cool that that was your first gravel event. So are you balancing work and bike racing? Like, is bike racing something that you want to do or you are doing full time, or are you still also juggling that with work?
So I was last year a person who has like 3 jobs at all times,
Yeah.
which is very stressful.
Yeah.
But my partner quit his job, so I quit my job, and we decided that for like 6 to 9 months we're gonna do just bike racing, just because it came at a really like convenient, if quitting a job is ever convenient, a convenient and like kind of necessary time for us. So right now it is what I'm doing full time. I
Nice.
also have a background in like neuroscience and sciences in general, so I coach a couple people. I'd
Okay.
say that like the 25 to 30-year-old age grouper is absolutely my jam. So I work with a lot of people who balance endurance sport in a 9 to 5, but I am not that person right now. And I've never really been someone who has a 9 to 5 in balances sport. I'm like a person that has like a 6 to 9 and then trains, and then a 3 to 5,
Yeah.
and that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think I have a lot of kids. Dave's coached a lot of collegiate kids and stuff that we've worked with, and I always tell them that's my biggest suggestion is like if you want to race bikes, you got to make some money too, and like having a job to balance that out, like it gives you a little bit of security and gets to a point where like you are now where you can take a break and do it, and it's because you had money. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of it we're doing in Europe, and it's like, I don't want to tell everyone this, but it's really cheap.
Yeah.
It's like for a 3-day stage race, it's like $120 here versus
Yeah.
home, where like a 1-day race can be $250. Also, okay, they cover insurance here. I had a really bad crash at a race while we were here before we quit our jobs. And I had this is really bad, but it was really remote. So they had to call a helicopter,
Oh, wow.
and it was free. It was free. So, but
Wow.
Man.
I was pretty fine actually, luckily, but it was just lack English or lack of Spanish on my part. And where I was, if you like looked on a map, it's like a triangle and then of roads, like these are the roads, and then like I was just in the middle of all of the roads.
Wow.
So yeah, helicopter was the only option, but that and all like the scans and all of that was covered. So it honestly just feels kind of like safe racing here.
Wow.
But yeah, if people can find a way to make it work, I think it's like a good experience. But
Yeah,
Like,
that's
that being
fascinating.
said,
first time with Amanda going over for like World Cups and other series, it was like we're going in to register, and they're like, no, you're racing elite, you don't pay. And we're
Yeah.
like, wait,
Cyclocross,
how
you
do we
don't even
register
pay.
then? And they're just like, no, it's like you're part of the race today. And you're like, okay. And then
Yeah.
you get out and there's like
you're the
10,000 people
entertainment.
in the
Yeah,
park,
exactly.
and you're like, oh, now I get it, because in America you're like, there's 200 people and there's 1,000 racers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I mean, like Elite Wave, who knows? They'll come out with a way around it. But the other thing is the roads aren't closed here ever. So there's a lot of gravel roads. Like there's a lot, so there's not a lot of traffic,
Hmm.
but the roads are never closed. So it's definitely like another element of chaos that you have to be prepared for, I think, in European gravel. But
Yeah.
I thrive, so I think it's a great experience and people should come try it out.
Like, give me the chaos. We'll work with
Yeah.
it. Oh.
So gravel and wine, was it how was the course this year?
I loved it. Being from San Diego, you don't from like West San Diego, you don't really get out to Temecula all that often.
Yeah.
And it's just like amazing to see what there is on offer locally. And it just like inspires me to like take my friends and take them out there and just kind of show people what we have in San Diego. Cause I think a lot of people get stuck riding the same like 3 or 4 routes.
Yeah.
And then like going out there is wonderful. There was, I'd say this year for Gravel and Wine, some things that they added was a little bit of single track, which is like always fun, and race organizers like to add that. I'd say it was like the perfect amount, because there's always like, I think, amount of single track where you're like, F this, like I'm really pissed right now riding this single track like 80 miles in.
Yeah.
You're like, it's gonna add like 30 minutes to when I thought I wanted to finish, depending on how you are with single track. That's how I feel. But it was the perfect amount. I think it was like just about to get to like the pissed off point. And then
Perfect.
there was like one really technical descent, but I think everyone like managed it really safely. And there was like one super fun descent that you could totally send. So I think it just had a really good mix of everything. And I was like really engaged the whole time, which is kind of hard to do for like 4.5 hours, as I said, for someone with ADHD. So
Yeah,
it was super
perfect.
fun. And I think, I mean, it was my first race, and I think it would be great for like a lot of other people's first races in San Diego, especially being like the location of BWR, which is a huge race, but I think a lot more intense. I think this is like the perfect race for people to like open up their season or open up their first year of gravel racing and like learn how to ride San Diego or SoCal gravel.
Yeah. Yeah, we always say that with like the kids that he's worked with that are trying to, race stuff. I'm always like, go win the local stuff and the smaller events, the ones that have a lower participation numbers, because it feels safer also. And like you said, it's a little bit less intense than the ones that have more notoriety and probably more people at them. So yeah, I wanted to kind of give some love to Gravel and Wine, and it's perfect that you've done it for a couple of years. So I think this is great.
It's very grassroots, like not even the
Yeah.
race itself, but like afterwards, like everyone is there, everyone says hello, they know each other, there's food, like, and I don't know, it just sometimes a gravel race you finish and you're like, okay, I feel like crap, like I'm ready to go home. But this, like, I think everyone stays and chats,
Oh, nice.
and they have music. And I honestly, like, if I pitch it to my friends when I want them to do it, I'm like, there's wine and music at the end. Like, you should
Yeah.
come.
Just come.
Yeah, that's like the fun we try to do similar with, and I know those guys came out to TUFF before, but it's like to take the village for the day in Mammoth and then now have music with it and the food trucks and other kind of vendors there, it's like get everybody to hang out and let that community mingle afterwards, because that is like the fun part to this gravel thing. Whereas like you go to a road race and it's like you might not even talk to
Oh,
people.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I feel like when we talk about the spirit of gravel, the chill sesh after is,
Yes.
that's the spirit of gravel.
100%.
So the race that you just did is part of the gravel
Earth Series.
Earth series, and that was
Yeah.
in Sandoval, or is that the race?
The race is Sandoval, and it was like right outside of Girona, which is like the hot place to be right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's where a lot of teams train out of.
Yeah, but it's like cool for gravel now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making it very cool. And they're also like doing some events in America as well, like one of the hoppers, and then like something in Oregon. So they're
Okay.
like also they're making it like super actually global, which is cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Is Girona in Spain kind of where you're going to base out of and do some of the events around there?
I think so, just because so many of the gravel events in Europe right now are taking place in Spain, because there's like a UCI race at the end of the month that's like more low key than some of the ones later in the year. And it's nice because I know you had Morgan on the show before. Her and I are really good friends. And just the fact that all these cyclists live in Girona means you kind of have like built-in friends and like a built-in community. Some of my friends from racing in Australia live there too. So it's really cool to like connect with people from all over the world with shared interests. and a lot of people are doing the same thing. So it's definitely like our first choice to be based out of. It's a very small community, but have home there for like however long we're here. We're
Okay.
trying to like see a lot of Europe too. So we're gonna bike to Strade Bianchi next and
That's cool.
watch that race. But we're trying to like bike pack a lot is a part of training, so you can see the country.
Oh, I
Or
love that. You're
countries.
balancing the fun stuff with the racing.
I like the
Yeah.
adventure of it to get to the next spot. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, we're hoping that we can have a couple races where we bike pack to the actual race and like can measure, like put that together. And then
Mhm.
I guess the other big thing that we're doing is the Traca in Girona. It's like the European Unbound.
Yeah,
But
it
I think
is.
it sounds worse. It sounds worse.
The long one does, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the long
yeah.
ones sound brutal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what we have on deck, and then we can like go home.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I love like I said, I love that you're balancing the racing and doing all of the fun stuff along with it. I think that's what people like to see because you're not taking the racing. I mean, you're taking it seriously, but you also know how to have some fun along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting paid to race, so I'm like, it's technically not my job. So
Right,
you
yeah.
get to have a lot. Like, I always try to like remind people who take it like so seriously, especially some of the people that I work with, where they're like, it was my friend's birthday, like, and I missed my run. I'm like, are you getting paid to do this Ironman? Like,
Yeah.
no, take it
Yeah.
easy. Like, go
Yeah,
go
then
out for your
chill.
friend's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, balance
But
of
then if I
life.
got like, if someone gave me $10, I'd probably like go all in. The threshold is very low.
Nice.
Threshold. The deliverable list is high and
Yeah.
the payments low.
Yeah, if someone was like, I'll give you $100 to train like 30 hours this week, I'd be like, absolutely. Like, we're doing it.
Game on.
I saved up for this.
All right. So one of the things that we wanted to ask you, because you like doing all of these long, fun adventures and sprinkling the racing in, what is the motivation to do all of this stuff then? Like, what is sort of the driving force to quit your job and go to Europe? You know, like I think that that's kind of a fun thing maybe for you to touch on is why.
I mean, as as much fun as I'm having, I think I like just kind of want to find like my limits, like kind of put as much as I can into it and see what I can get out of it. It's just like the relentless, like I can do better, I can do better. And it's really annoying because I always give myself a goal and though so far I've like always gotten it or like surprised myself. So it just it's a great little treat. And then it keeps you
Yeah.
coming back for more. Like Sandoval, like was crazy for me. Like that I like lost the gravel and wine essentially. And then I was like, I'm gonna go so hard next weekend. And it was like 100-mile ride with me and my friends. And then I got a flat and I had planned the ride, but no one waited for me. So I went so hard for like 5 hours to catch my friends. And I was like, wait, I didn't know I could do that. And then I just like did that again at Sandoval and it was like another level. And I'm like, wow, it like you can keep doing it. So if that's what I guess just seeing what my limits are.
Yeah.
And
That's
discovering
perfect.
new ones is super cool. And yeah, but and it was definitely tough to like actually. So one of my friends want me to come to Europe, and he gave me a job referral for my dream job, and I essentially got it. So I also had to say no to that
Oh,
to come and
wow.
do
Oh
this.
man.
So it was
Wow.
definitely like it was definitely a trial from like October when we got back and we were like, should we really do this until like January, end of January when we left to come here.
Uh-huh.
And I was like still thinking about it, but I think the second that I like landed in Spain, I knew I made the right choice for myself. So that was really cool.
Nice. I love it. I like the like finding your own limits. I think that's perfect.
I mean, it's also new that like everything is gonna have just like so many, yeah,
So
like
many new limits
personal
all the
bests that
time.
are
Yeah.
coming up. You know, it's like, yeah,
I'll let you know when it stops. But
Yeah.
I make my goals like pretty reasonable. They're
that's
not,
good.
like,
Most
here.
people don't.
Yeah, most people don't. Yeah, that's good. That's a good suggestion,
But
actually.
yeah, if they do though, then they might get they might just keep coming back.
Yeah.
I guess because we always kind of go back to our event and stuff, but do you have history, or have you ridden up around Mammoth Lakes area?
Uh, we did a ride in NorCal, and then we drove down, and we were like, let's ride in Mammoth. And we
Okay.
were super sore. And we took a bunch of single track. It was so hard. It was like not
Gravel
a recovery
bikes?
ride. Yeah. It's
Okay.
just a bunch
man.
of single track on our gravel bikes in Mammoth. It was like really sandy. But that
What
is my
size
experience with
tires?
Mammoth. Like
Yeah.
38. Like
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's
it
kind of
was
like the lowest I would tell anybody to go if they're like strong and competent with
Comfortable.
driving a
Yeah.
bike. But yeah,
no.
the tough is the leftover debris from the
Yeah.
volcano, and it's just all pumice and obsidian and all the other stuff. And so it's a completely different, like if most events set their slowest pace for time cuts at 10 miles an hour, we set ours at 8
Yeah.
because you're just not going anywhere fast.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the
Got it.
reasons we've always gone and used it for training for some of the bigger events, because it's like you can leave town and go get lost for 80, 100 miles, no problem, if you know the right areas to ride. But it's also like, don't go to the wrong areas because you're going to sink.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, that was me the
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
after a race too. So I was like, oh, what are these people?
You're
What's
all,
the
this is
course like?
miserable.
So this is just
Like,
one day that you guys rode there?
we only rode there for one day, but
Okay.
and then my partner has done like 5 billion altitude camps there, so he actually knows it really well, which is why I was surprised he let us astray on these trails that he said he knew so
Okay.
well.
Uh-huh.
So, but
Well, I'm sure
yeah.
I mean, they could have been fun on like a 48 tire. I think that's what we tell people. Like, if you're riding like close to a mountain bike size tire, you can have fun on drop bars
Yeah.
up there. You just have to know where to go. It's
I'd
tricky.
say like 40 or above for most people, but it
Yeah.
always depends on the bike, you know?
We're gonna go as big as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if you guys are, when you
Your
guys back
airport's
from
on.
Europe,
Say that one more time.
when you guys back from Europe, or what's the plan for
I
now?
think so. Actually, I have to go back and forth a bunch for races because I committed to a road team.
Oh,
So I'll be back for Redlands and Sea Otter, and then I come back here for the Chaka, and then I go back for Joe Martin, and then I'm back here for like undetermined amount of time, and then I think beginning of September, we should be back in California.
oh, good time.
That's gonna be a rough back and forth.
Yeah, that is going to be rough. Well, if you're
But
back and you're not smoked by the end of the season, then join us,
Yeah.
or at least
definitely. I mean,
bring.
I've been pitching it. Yeah. I've been pitching it to this like group in San Diego that I ride with that has like a bunch of gravel curious people, but they haven't like committed yet. So I'm
Okay.
like,
Perfect.
this would
We
be
need
fun.
we need the gravel curious, because they're like, it just stresses them out enough, I think.
Well,
with
and
short
San
course.
Diego is so unique because the San Diego's mind of gravel is BWR, which is not like Midwest gravel, and our event leans more towards that because it's these wide open roads and half desert, half mountain, and it's so unlike BWR that it's hard to convince people from San Diego. You're like, no, I swear it's different. Like, try it. It's not gonna be as hard as BWR.
I mean,
Yeah.
what we joke about BWR is like it's either you can never pick the right bike because it's either your road bike or you want a mountain bike, but
Yes.
like you are forced to ride the in between, so you're never quite comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely gaining, like the underbiking is getting enough that you're like, okay, gravel bike now you have to ride for San Diego. Whereas like in the beginning, I don't think we ever rode over a 28 for years.
No, I'm just road bikes. Yeah.
Now it's like, well, maybe you could choose a slick, but you're gonna just get beat up.
Yeah, do you want to finish tonight? I don't know.
Yeah. Have you done the BWRC? I saw the North Carolina you've done, right? But have you done San
Yeah,
Diego?
I've done North Carolina 2 times, and then I've done San Diego 1 time. But I'd say I prefer North Carolina. That is a sick
Yeah.
Yeah.
race.
Yeah. That
Like
one looks rad.
also like didn't know that North Carolina was cool.
Yeah. Didn't think that
I
was on the
literally
list of.
cool places. No, I mean you learn a lot about like Arkansas when you're a bike racer. You're like, oh, time to go to Virginia. Like,
Yeah.
okay. And then it's usually kind of cool, actually, especially for like the off-road stuff. But
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
don't know if I've done a proper not like single tracky kind of like bike race. So I'd be excited to like have one that is like the wide open roads. Like I've never done like a Unbound or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're still juggling road stuff, so I'm sure it's not that easy for you to like pick and choose the races that you want, but sometime in the future, I mean, there's a lot of good like smaller Kansas races and things
Yeah.
that have that gravel and wine vibe that we really like that kind of get you that feel without it being an overwhelming like super big event.
Yeah, like we're going
Yeah.
out and we do a camp in April with a friends event, Flint Hills Gravel Ride, and it's a lot of the same stuff that they'll use on the Unbound courses. And it's
That's
just the
like
next
800
town
people.
over, but it's
Yeah.
like 800 people, and the town is maybe 200 people live there,
Yeah.
and it's a square. And so they just kind of take over the square for the day, and it's super fun. And it reminds me of like DK back in 2014 or whatever when I
Yeah.
first saw it, or 2013. So it's pretty amazing
The
to go and see
OG.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it's fun with those events, and the like community around it. They're so involved. Like the town will literally change their hours for the day to make sure that everybody is happy because it brings them business, and you're just like, this wouldn't happen in California.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
They'd be like, why are they shutting the road for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, when you settle from your European travels, you know, you could make a cool like grassrootsy North American calendar as well. That might not be as friendly for health insurance, but it could be fun for the racing.
It'll be chill. I'm not gonna be risk level 1,000 if it's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
less people.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we always kind of like pride ourselves on the amount of I feel like California gravel is still growing, and so we do get a lot of people coming up and testing things out with our event. But that being said, if you go back to the first, I guess, gravel event you did, what is one thing you wish somebody would have told you for somebody new that's going to do this stuff?
Uh, Probably something about descending.
Lean back.
Don't stay seated.
Out of the saddle. Yeah, stay out of the saddle and like bend your elbows and like
Yep.
take up as much space as possible. And then honestly, like send it because you can. Like you're
Yeah.
more capable than you think, I think is actually probably what I would tell my girlfriends who are doing their BWR for the first year is probably just like you can do it. Like you're
Yeah.
gonna do a lot better than you think you can. So
Oh, I
that's
love
something I would
that.
tell myself too.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
love
that
it.
hard. We're all fit people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's a good, I mean, that's really good advice for gravel events because I think there are a lot of like roadies that will come into it. And I always say, I can tell when I'm descending behind somebody, I can tell when they've never ridden a mountain bike before because of the way you shift your body on a road bike and stuff. It's not as extreme to lean as far back as sometimes you need to, that you can feel that on a mountain bike. And so I think that's really good advice, is like just tell people to go practice that maybe a little bit more and lean back, because it's not something you would like force yourself to do if you're not used to it.
Get
Wow.
those heels down. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, take the speed into the next roller because you're going to save energy. And
Yeah,
that's where, like,
that's a
people,
good
I'm
one.
like, why are you stopping pedaling? Like, pedal on the downhill so you don't have to pedal as hard on the next uphill. There's
Yeah,
7 of these in a row. And they're like, what do you mean? You're like, never mind.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know
Thank
I'm
you for
still
that.
learning that.
Yeah.
I love coasting.
You need to come to camp with us. You can help us.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. We had like, I think our first Mammoth Tough, there was like 40% noobs or some crazy number where that was like their actual first gravel event. Yeah, so we really want these talks and like our way that we bring Mammoth to it to feel welcoming and like get a bunch of new people into it. So that's a good tip. Thank you. All right, so our last segment, we're gonna call it Tough Stuff. We want to know what bike you're riding right now and what's your go-to favorite tire sort of for everything.
Okay, so I have a Cervelo Aspero, and I've absolutely like maxed the clearance with a 42 Pathfinder. Love
That
them.
maxes the clearance?
Yeah, it's really bad. So
Wow, okay.
actually, when I did gravel and wine, I had to change because it was raining like the week before. I actually had to put a 38, the Conti one, like
Yeah.
the whatever, the Conti one. And I was really sad about it. But I was like, if any mud goes on this, like it's gonna scratch my frame. So I have to
Oh,
put a
yeah.
smaller tire on it. But the Pathfinders are like the best, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
hoping to
Yeah, we had
eventually
a
like
talk
upgrade to a
about
frame.
Pathfinders last time.
Really?
Popular down in the San Diego crowd.
Yeah.
But I mean, California is very specialized and it is a good tire, like I have to admit.
I didn't want to be a groupie either. I was like specialized. And then I was like, oh my God, but it's so good.
Yeah.
My road team got SL7s, and I was like, I really didn't want to like this, but I'm having a lot of fun.
Perfect. Yeah, so do you have a relationship with Cervelo, or is that just the bike that you picked?
It is the bike that I picked just because my friend had one. I actually raced her I did not have my own gravel bike until like my 5th gravel race. I
Oh,
was one of
okay.
those people who's like always borrowing a bike. So I raced her Cervelo at BWR San Diego. And I
Okay.
was like, oh, that worked. So I'm gonna get this bike. So that one was the one that stuck out to me. But
Nice.
I do wish I had something that had more clearance. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on the look.
Future.
Yeah. I mean, does Cervelo know you're riding it? I'm trying to like get you in with Cervelo, but like
I emailed them. I was like, hi, these are my race results. They're okay.
yeah.
But I'm getting better. And then I was like, but I do a junior Olympic training camp. I run a team in San Diego. So I'm like, I do more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they know. I mean, also
Okay.
on top of that, I have the worst group set, but I love it. I'm
Oh,
like
tell
with all
us.
these electronic shifting, I have Apex one by. I'm like, this is the Tiagra of SRAM. Like, it is bad. I got put
But it
nicer wheels
works.
on that bike, but it works. I was like listening to these girls with their like whatever electronic shifting, and like they're clunking around, and I'm like slamming. I'm like, let's go Apex, and it works. I'm like, do I need to upgrade that? I don't know.
No,
I
but
don't know.
hey, it works. Sometimes the cheaper
I
stuff is
feel
the most
like
durable.
people get so bent out of shape over like what they have to run. And you're like, if you just have a nice set of race wheels, like Amanda, first time she won Unbound, it was a aluminum frame, and people
Oh,
are like, I don't
exactly.
get it. And you're like, well, because the geometry was custom made and we were making some sample bikes. And you're like, you really don't need the fanciest stuff in the world.
You
SRAM
don't.
force and aluminum frame with a nice set of wheels works great.
Yeah.
And you feel a little less bad about like the rocks.
Destroying everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the pictures of Amanda's bike sideways in a runoff from a ranch and she's washing it, I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to rebuild that entire bike, and that's disgusting.
Yeah, but you're like the poster child for the 20 or 20 something year old that, you're piecing together what you can with the money that you do have to make it work. And I think a lot of like bike marketing, they always target like the people with money who want to spend money on electronic shifting. And that group of like 20 to 35 always gets left behind because like we don't want to spend a ton of money on stuff and we're not going to drop 10 grand on a nice bike. So yeah, I think they need to tell more stories like yours where you're like, I'm just making it work with what I can do. I think that's more
And
realistic.
yeah, and eventually the 20 somethings will be able to afford the nice bike. I'm like, market
Right.
to them now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my primary argument. I'm like, these are going to be customers for life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So true. So true. Uh,
Well, I guess the last question is favorite place to ride.
I love like the Santa Monica Mountains, like Malibu, all of those canyons, especially like the gravel's insane. There's a loop called Africa. Been trying to QOM that with a couple friends who tried twice. We're still
okay.
working on it, but it is, I think, like world class riding. Like Yeah, we biked from Switzerland to Slovenia. So we've seen like Switzerland, Italy, Slovenia, all great places. But I think if you needed to like live somewhere and bike every day of your life, Los Angeles.
Wow.
Crazy, crazy take.
That's
Yeah.
actually the wrong answer. It's the Eastern Sierra, but I won't judge you. I always ask it just so I can tell people that.
It is. It is.
But
We've
the
done some
Santa
races
Monica
there.
Mountains are so underrated. Like people don't even know it's there. And like once you kind of leave Malibu, you're like, there's so much stuff up here. That's
It,
amazing.
it's and there's like no traffic, which is like the crazy part. Like
Yeah.
you'd expect like a ton of people because it's next to Los Angeles, but yeah, definitely a very cool place to ride. Very challenging too, but
Yeah, did you like live there at all, or that's just you driving up there from San Diego?
my partner lived up there, so like every other weekend I would go and
Oh,
then we
okay.
would ride up there. But he's moved back. We quit our job, so we're both back in San Diego. Uh, I still like will drive up there at like 5 a.m. on a
Yeah.
Saturday to like go
Nice.
ride with my friends up there. I just think it's like so beautiful. And then we like bring our San Diego friends too, just to expand that community, and it's really fun.
Okay, got it. That makes sense now. When you mentioned Santa Monica team, I was like, maybe she lives there part-time, but that makes sense.
Kind of. I know.
Yeah.
Where do I live?
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Well, thanks for doing this. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Tell us about other plans you have this year or any sponsorship stuff you do want to shout out?
Oh, okay. I will shout out too because earlier this year I got to do this thing called Girls Camp and I took like 12 of my friends. They didn't know each other, but I knew all of them. So they were like,
Oh,
we know what
nice.
we're getting into. And everyone is like super strong, but not like a racer yet. And they're just kind of like exploring like how strong they are on the bike. And it was so cool. And we had some support from MAP, who I think is trying to like up their game in like supporting females in cycling. They also sponsor like a continental team this year, which is super cool. And then Almost There, the San Diego local bike brand or bag brand, they both
Oh, yeah.
have supported that event. And then we're gonna do, I think like spoiler alert, we're gonna have a girls 200-mile ride later in the year because last year I rode 200 miles, but it was like me and 12 guys and I was the only girl. And then I was like, let's flip the script. And then so I have plans this year to do 200 miles with like those same girls and then also support from MAP and Almost There. So definitely like huge shout out to them because I tell them my crazy ideas and they're like, how can we help? So
Oh, I
they
love
a lot of
it.
thanks to them.
When is the 200-mile idea?
I think
Trying
we're
to get in on
looking
this.
in like June. Yeah, do you want to cut? It's I had to get the blessing though from the guy whose route that it was.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I'll be very impressed when you pull this off.
You're like,
So
okay,
we're hoping
challenge
like
accepted.
when I come back in April that everyone can be in shape for that.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think we did a 200-mile one. If we leave from our house here in Lake Forest, we rode to the top of Crystal Lake Cafe. You go up that highway.
Yes, that
And
is
then
such a cool ride.
yeah, and like that is 100 miles, and then we turned around and went back. So we did 200 miles that way once. That was
Forgot
the
about that, right? That's a
yeah.
cool one. Like up through
But we tried to like keep it
coast of
on
Long Beach.
river the long what is it called? Long Beach River Trail, the Santa
Agreed.
Ana River Trail, and another one. But we tried to keep it like off roads as much as we could until we got to the mountains. But yeah, I like
That
that
is such a
idea.
climb. Yeah, our
Yeah.
Yeah.
route is I actually like even more chaotic. It's one way.
Oh boy.
It's
Okay, committed.
it's San Diego. It's San Diego to Arizona. It's
Oh,
so funny.
what?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's like pretty brutal. Like so you just
Wait,
go
did you
up
say
over a
June or
pass.
April you're doing this? Because I'm like,
April.
okay, June. I'm like, you guys are gonna die.
We did it. What did we do it this? We did it. There's a group that always does it in like the last week of October maybe. So that's like not too hot. But yeah, you go up over to Julian and then you descend and then it's just like desert, which is like
Oh.
mind game. Like it's pretty tough, but it goes by fast. And then we're like, it was great. It's great because this year we were like going so fast. You're like, we're gonna finish before dark. And then within like 5 miles, there was 5 flats. And then it's like 8 p.m. It's dark. We're on the highway. We're like rolling turns at 30 miles an hour. It's dead silent. It's like it gets pretty gnarly. And then
Wow.
it's actually 208, but at 200, just like when this one guy's GPS is 200, we like pull over on the side of the freeway and have a beer and then like roll the last 8 miles.
I
Oh,
love it.
man.
I love it.
Just remember
And
those
it's
like
not,
nightmare moments for when you guys are bike packing to events, because I feel like Amanda sent me out to check part of this like Caldera route that we kind of like are part of up in the Eastern Sierra, and I'm like, after the event, zero fitness, but in my head I can still do it. And I did the same thing where like I'm gonna be there by like 5 p.m. It's like 8:30. I'm rolling into town. I hiked for like 10 miles that day, broke a pair of carbon shoes. You know,
Always
you're
hated
just like,
something.
there's always something on these adventure rides that you're like, everything went wrong. And it's kind of what makes them fun.
yeah, it's if you get there by 5:30 when you expected, you missed out on something.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The story's not that good.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as fun if we didn't finish in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I do like the road soda though. That's good.
Just
Yeah,
at
so
like it's not even at an important spot. It's not Arizona, it's not California. It's
just
like
that
just
200.
like
Just when
it's like
whoever's
somewhere random.
Yeah.
you're like,
The first
anybody's head
person.
unit ahead of game.
Yeah, whoever's gets to first.
What's your mileage? I
Someone
really
else.
need a beer.
Oh, I love it.
Literally.
Oh man. I kind of want to do this right now.
Yeah. So yeah, so map and almost there. That's the big thank yous for this year
The
from
big
you.
two. Yeah, huge thank yous.
Yeah, that's rad.
cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're supporting you. And are you wearing map clothing this year for all
Yes,
your
I'll be
stuff?
wearing
Okay.
map clothing.
Okay,
Cool.
nice. Do you get, is it like custom or just their like standard line?
It's standard, not custom yet, though. I'm like massaging. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, they have cool
look how
colors.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
their
The
do.
colors
clothing's
are,
good. It's simple.
yeah.
That's all it needs to
Their
be.
color department. Yeah, but we got this team in San Diego. Okay, I also have to thank them. Team Best. It's associated with Best Pizza, which is actually Eastern Sierra adjacent because there's a billboard on the way back from Mammoth that
Oh,
says like only 38 more like stop freeway exits until Best Pizza.
ah,
You guys should look out for it while you're
yeah.
driving south at any point, but it's on the way from Mammoth back to San Diego. That pizza shop sponsors us, but it's like a group in San Diego of like 60 people, and I think our average age is probably like 27, 28. Like
Rad.
everyone is super young, and it's like the most vivacious like cycling group out there. I think everyone says hello. We have that like gravel vibe where we hang out after, right? No one's like rushing home. It's like sad if you miss the hangout. So it's
Yeah.
and everyone's gotten really fast. Like we lift each other up. We have fast rides. So big thank you to them. And yeah, they like fit into all of this too. They motivate me. I'd say
That's
it's the most
rad.
supportive
This
group of
was
people I've
part of
ever been with.
my like road racing, and when I was clicking on some of the links through, I'm like, what is this pizza team? And then like
Yeah.
the girl camp, I'm like, that's what I was saying, like it's the girl squads together and and the other stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's fun.
I like bringing the squad together. Yeah, but Team Best is if you guys are ever in San Diego, or if anyone who listens to this is in San Diego, we ride from Pizza in Cardiff 5:15 p.m. after daylight savings on Thursdays and at 9 o'clock on Saturdays from Best
Nice.
in San Diego. So
That's
especially if you're
genius marketing.
at the golden age.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, and then what is the road team then this year as well?
I'm so associated. I'm on Monarch, and they're based out of San Francisco, and they also do a bunch of cool things for the community too. Like our team leader, Helen, she is the person who organized like a mentorship for U19
yeah.
riders for one of
Yeah.
the hoppers up there. So
Hmm.
I mean, that's kind of why I was like drawn to that. And Helen and I have raced together, and she knows what I do in San Diego and I know what she does up there. So it's obviously like an easy, like, of course, join my team. So she's leads Monarch, and then she also does that up there. So they have a lot of cool things going on as well.
I love it. You were doing some cool stuff. And just from somebody who's almost a decade older than you. Thank you, because I wish there was more of that when I was in my 20s.
2 decades older, but thanks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the motivation too. It's not just my own limits, but it's like
Yeah.
the people make it everything. So
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I appreciate that you're doing that because it makes people feel like they're part of something and that gets them to keep doing it. So that's awesome.
like for lessons, good marketing
Yeah.
will get you to the right people.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you, Sophia. We're just gonna say for everyone listening, please hit like and subscribe and join us for more tough conversations that challenge, inspire, and leave you thinking.
And then if you've got folks you want to hear from that have done Mammoth Tough or are planning to ride it in 2024, tell us in the comments and we'll do some more of these this year. And then from Amanda and I, thank you, and we'll see you sometime on the east side.
Thanks, Sophia.
Thank you guys.
Have fun.